This is the person's video that I watched. His name is there, Peter Kelly, and he's the one explaining it. Although he's explaining what history there is, but he says, how do you ever prove it? How can you ever prove any of it's real? We don't know, do we? But these are what he finds.
But this wasn't always the border. In fact, 1200 years ago, the map looked very different.
Hello everybody. Today we're going to look at this place called Barmbarton Rock. Barmbarton Rock is in Scotland, but I was just very intrigued when it came into my feed that there was lots of different maps on this video. Anyway, let's just begin the video. It was a hill fort. I think in this video what they say is that this used to be the capital of England in its time, a long time ago, but it was the capital. Scotland is called Pickland, and the next one is called Clut, and this one's called like Northern Neil over here, a county, but it's all the names were different, so that must be what happened, was that England was called something totally different, all of it, and they've come along and over the years, especially for this biggest regime that we're in, they have changed all the names. So this is another reason why we can't link history with itself, because all the names have changed. I never knew Scotland was going to be called Pickland. Never heard of that before. Anyway, this rock, it was a hill fort. It was a hill fort first, and then it turned into a castle. All to do with the defence on that hill, because not many people could conquer it, because they were always higher and could conquer them coming in. But I've written a few things down so I didn't forget. Was an old volcano. Don't hear that very often in the UK, do you, volcanoes? But obviously one. The Romans were there like BC up to about the 5th century. Yeah, so they were there as well. There's remnants in this castle that the Romans were there. This place is outside Glasgow. It's got so much history attached to it. I don't even think I can recap it. I'd only be recapping what they want you to hear. Then Rome left. They're referring these couple of castles, one of them being Tintagel. They're very similar, and as you can see, it's very like this one, but that's on a rock, and this one, which is also on a rock, isn't it? See, just like this other place, Dumbarton. Views, and I noticed that the fort was the wall was a style fort like. When you actually see the drawings of what was there, it's totally changed to what it was. I will show you in a minute when we move along. It was called, then is it the same as that one? Yeah, that one's clearer, isn't it? Oh, just when you want to find that bit. So it was called the Old North afterwards. These are the maps he's bringing out. So it was called Picts, the Irish Kingdom, and the Old North, which is now different to the map before. Maybe these are more like Doggerland names, you know, before they've changed all the history, because obviously maybe there was no Viking invasion. Maybe it was all the people from the Doggerland escaping the big tsunami that was coming. But anyway, let's carry on. Strange in the history when they're talking about all this, they don't talk about the big flood at all, or all these things that we're finding out now. Here, it's called Damganai, or maybe they're still called some of these things, but probably a myth now. When they actually were the truth, they were called these things as maps with their names on. Yeah, that's what it looks like now. But originally there was stuff on the top of here, and there was a castle. Yeah, at the back of it, here, there, on top of that. I'll stick a picture in a minute. But the castle's gone. Snapping some pictures of. It was obviously important. You can actually see different times, different by the drawings to the buildings, different times, different eras, known as, with all this masses of history, which obviously in the video I was watching he tries to explain most of it, you know, from before BC right up to about the 15th century, how important. The 5th century is mentioned because this is about the time that the Romans left. People might think that that's the castle, but it wasn't. The castle was around the other side. It was in here, it was on there. Anyway, I think a few of the pictures are the same. Sorry about that. I was a bit tired when I was doing this, but hopefully you don't mind seeing the same pictures over. Well, a few of them. I got lost and I was so tired when I was doing this video, but that's alright, you don't mind. Yeah, it's got that star fort front here, which I'll show you a better picture of it in a minute. And to me, those concrete things or bricks, they're built on the side, you know, looking a bit more sort of advanced to what they were. That's what I see. Everything doesn't quite match in, does it, as usual? And I was just seeing it, and then I just thought, oh, I've got to take some pictures of this because this is just so interesting. I never knew about this place, especially when he was explaining that how important it was in those days. As a hill fort, then a castle, then all the history, and then even after the Romans had been. With lots of names I've never heard of before, and names on the maps. But again, Old North. When did all these names change? What, when the kings were in and out and in and out? I think the guy was just talking now, I was just snapping some pictures. There you go, more names. Can't quite read those actually, because I've obviously snapped them from the video. This is all Scotland, isn't it? All different names. There you go, to form a new kingdom, but Britons would never rule the rock, and ruled for a while and then they didn't. I suppose we were called the Saxons then. Yeah, but anyway, there's the castle, right? Stop it there. There are drawings with buildings on here and buildings in there, so it was much more of a castle, which you don't see now. And this house is at the front of the place. It's an old house. It's a bit out the front, which is very Star Fort-like. But even these buildings, they're quite old, aren't they? You know, those houses are not new, are they? At least a few hundred years old. And this is another castle here, very Star Fort shaped, like in its walls and built on a rock. Anyway, both this castle and Dumbarton are got like Star Fort walls around them, but they've now got other buildings on top of them as well. You know, the original buildings are not there to what are on the drawings. The capital of British. That's what they thought of this place. Wow, I knew that. But then you think you know everything and actually you know nothing. That's what happens. When you start to look into all this stuff, everything changes. Yeah, I showed those, I'm just catching up. There you go, showing those ones, showing that one. It's very hard doing this sometimes. You take so many pictures and you don't realise that you redo a few of them by accident. Anyway, we're just catching up now. Oh, you don't mind seeing it twice, do you? It's a very different place. When I was looking, you know, they were just showing pictures like this. But immediately what sticks out to me was the wall, the Star Fort shaped wall, like that one there at the front. That's there. So obviously, definitely something else, part of something else that they're not telling us. There you go, there it is again, see, in front of the house. Yeah, it's obviously changed this a bit, haven't they? But then, up there, in there, then there's that Star Fort wall. Then inside, they show you this. This is in there. But it was a hill fort to start with. A hill fort. More pictures of it with... That's the other side of it, not the front with the house. I think that's the... Oh, I don't know, maybe that is the front of it. Anyway, This is what is here now. There is the wall that was. And there's the castle. Above those trees was where the castle was. And I was quite amazed here. This person's on the top of that rock, but in the background, the land. Look at these old buildings. Derelict now, aren't they, these old buildings? But they don't want us to understand our past, do they, now? These are the old pictures of it. See, on the top there? Looks like a church or a steeple or whatever that is, a monument or something on the top there. That's not there anymore. And obviously some of those buildings aren't there anymore. It's all changed. Old pictures again, just a few clumps of old pictures of this place. How do they know this hill fort looked like that? And then comes that star fort shaped wall. Then there's loads of different buildings. And I mean, what is that on the top there? That's not a pole for a flag, is it? So what's that? Don't know what that is. Does anybody have any ideas to what that pole is? There it is again. I don't know what that is. It's just in one of the drawings. The drawings, I don't know, different to what's there now. There's the old castle wall, or whatever it was. But there was a building there as well, at another time. So all the pictures show different stuff. Anyway, this is information about the history, but I don't know how much of it you can take in. There's a centuries worth of history there. If you can read it, stop and read it anytime you want. Anyway, they're little gems to find, aren't they? But still you can't find it all out. Anyway, that's where it is in Scotland. It's just left and up a bit from Glasgow. And on an estuary. There's the wall, right? That's the original wall, which I don't seem to like it in the pictures anymore. You know, like I blew that one up to see it. You know, anybody taking pictures isn't taking, well, look at that, looks different to that, and so forth. But at least there's a bit of it left, I suppose. Just looks like part of the wall now, doesn't it? Not sure if that bit's just a different colour and built at a different time. But they make you think or believe that when they're castles at different times, oh, we're not in that style anymore, we're in this style. It's like clothes, like they're changing clothes. And I don't think that's true, but I don't understand how we can have so many different kinds of castles and times, and anyway, without there being proper history for it, only the history that they've fed us. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh yes, just before I go, do you know something else this place was? You won't believe it. It was a prison. It was a prison. Everywhere was prison. We were just in prisons, the Gulag people. Prisoners making towns. Everybody just seems to be prisoners. What's your thoughts on that? Everything in the past is all about prisons.